The red snapper you paid $30 for at that nice restaurant? It was probably tilapia. The expensive wild salmon in your grocery cart? It might just be cheap, farmed Atlantic salmon with color added.
This is one of the biggest, most brazen food frauds in the world.
Look, you're trying to do the right thing. You try to eat healthy. You choose fish for omega-3, for your heart. You trust the label in the supermarket, the fancy description on the menu, and you pay more, thinking it's better. So when you find out you've been lied to, it doesn't just feel like a ripoff.
It feels like a betrayal.
I'm your host, and this is Food Origins, where we uncover the truth behind what you eat.
To understand just how deep, let's look at the data. This scam even has a name: seafood fraud. From ocean to your plate, somewhere along the way, the truth gets lost.
To understand the scale, we need to look at the data.
For years, the conservation group Oceana has been testing what's really inside your seafood.
Conservation group Oceana ran a global investigation.
1 in 5 fish are mislabeled in the U.S.
They bought fish from restaurants and supermarkets and DNA tested them. Across the European Union, numbers stayed high, especially for cod and tuna. It's a global epidemic.
There are 3 levels of deception we see again and again. Level 1, the rebrand. Marketing spin at its finest. They don't change the fish, they just change the name.
Would you buy a fish called slimehead? Probably not. But rename it Orange Ruffy. Suddenly, it sounds delicious.
From slimehead to orange ruffy. Because sometimes, all it takes is a little polish to change everything.
The same trick turned Patagonian toothfish into Chilean sea bass, an expensive delicacy with a prettier name.
Level 2, the bait and switch. This time, it's not just about names. They're literally swapping cheap fish for the pricey ones you think you're buying. Cheaper fish are sold as premium species every day. It's called bait and switch.
On the shelf, it's all just names and numbers. But a clever relabel can turn a $5 fish into a $20 delicacy. Most of us never look twice. The label says, red snapper. The color looks right, and that's all it takes.
Level 3, industrial deception. This isn't just mislabeling at the store.
At the farms, massive industrial ponds churn with Pangasius and farmed salmon. Under a drone's eye, you can see endless rows of pens, water tinted green from feed pellets. Workers mix pigment additives into salmon feed, not for nutrition, but for color, to make pale fish look wild. It's not illegal, but it's deceptive, and that's where the line between farming and fraud begins to blur.
That fancy white tuna on your sushi plate? Often, it's actually escalar.
What you're eating is actually escalar, nicknamed the laxative of the sea.
A fish can be caught in one ocean, processed on another ship, frozen, packed, and shipped across continents before it reaches your plate.
Why is this so easy to pull off? Because the seafood supply chain is incredibly complex. Fish move from boats to processors to containers to supermarkets, often crossing continents.
Once a fish is skinned, filleted, and frozen paying, it's anonymous.
Inside the frozen warehouses, boxes pile up under flickering blue light. No faces, no origins, just barcodes.
The mixed fillets are all
Cameras follow container ships cutting through fog. Somewhere inside, the deception continues. Fillets slide across metal trays, anonymous, white, and identical. No one could tell one species from another. By the time that fillet hits your plate, it's changed hands a dozen times. The name? Just a sticker. The system rewards opacity. The less traceable the fish, the easier it is to cheat. Fish laundering, they call it, mixing legal and illegal catches until no one can tell them apart.
The laundering process is complete. The legal and illegal catches are now indistinguishable, packaged as a generic seafood product with no traceable origin.
This system is perfect for fish fraud. Complex, anonymous, and nearly impossible to trace.
I know it seems counterintuitive coming from a guy in a suit, but go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe.
This scam has 3 real consequences: your wallet, your health, and the planet.
First, your wallet. You pay premium prices for luxury fish and get a cheap substitute. It's a bait and switch that costs consumers billions every year. Second, your health. You might think you're avoiding mercury-heavy species, but you're not. That snapper on your plate could be a completely different fish with far higher toxin levels. And third, the planet itself. Seafood fraud fuels illegal, unregulated, and destructive fishing.
Every year, thousands of tons of plastic netting are abandoned, continuing to fish long after they are lost, a devastating environmental cost.
These are the consequences and effects on our economy, on our health, and on our environment. So what can we actually do about this? The system's messy, yes, but there are real steps you can take.
Tip number 1, buy it whole whenever you can.
Is this considered a sustainable
Buy
catch?
the whole fish. It's
Yes,
much
these
harder to fake an
rockfish were
entire
caught
red
locally.
snapper than a fillet. The scales, the fins, the eyes, they tell the story labels try to hide.
Tip number 2, ask question. No answer, that's a red flag.
When you choose your fish, always ask where it's from and how it was caught. It makes a difference.
And third, trust but verify. Look for credible certifications like the MSC blue check mark. So these labels tell you that the seafood is responsibly and sustainably sourced.
These global systems introduce opportunities for fraud and undermine trust in our food supply. And the more we understand these systems, the better equipped we are to demand change. If you believe in this mission, make sure you subscribe to Food Origins and turn on notifications.
And check out our full playlist, the Food Fraud Files, right here.